Hello, this is Pastor Micah with Life's Journey, United Church of Christ. Pausing for a moment in the midst of our busy weeks for a reflection. As I do so, I'm struck by just what a blessing it was this past weekend to not only join some of you for worship, but to join many of you for an ice cream social as a church family. Seeing all of your smiling faces and fellowship and laughter was such a joy. It reminded me of the words of the psalmist who wrote, "When the Lord restored the fortunes of God's people, we were like those who dreamed, that our mouth was filled with laughter and our tongue with shouts of joy. Then it was said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us," and we rejoiced. I hope as we pause in the busyness of all of our weeks for a brief moment of reflection, such joy and laughter continues with us. This past week, we looked at the challenging text by John in Revelation, in which our society's failure to live with Christ like compassion, and instead, its choice to pursue oppressive systems like empire, like racism, like greedy seeking after the holy dollar as the only good, are depicted as four horsemen roaming the byways of life, pursuing mayhem. We looked at what it means to follow in the path of the Good Shepherd, both trusting in his care in the face of life's ordeals, while also choosing his path of self giving love over the false values that so often tempt us. This coming week, we will continue our study by looking at John's imagery of beasts, which picture systems of oppression that can lead us to lose our humanity if we blindly follow them, and the way Christ shows us to join him in working to resist and overcome such systems. I don't know about you, but when I hear of these themes of Revelation, the Bible's call to stand in the gap against patterns of injustice that lead our society to be inhumane to the hurting, I often feel overwhelmed. There is so much to be done. Where to begin? Such moments, I find the words of Henry Nouwen's from his book Here and Now, Life in the Spirit, which I've shared with you before, helpful. The more I think about the human suffering in our world and my desire to offer a healing response, the more I realize how crucial it is not to allow myself to become paralyzed by feelings of impotence and guilt. More important than ever is to be very faithful to my vocation to do well the few things I am called to do and hold on to the joy and the peace they bring. I must resist the temptation to let the forces of darkness hold me in despair and make me one more of their many victims. Henry Nouwen reminds us not to be overcome by all that is before us, throwing up our hands and giving up when things become difficult, nor becoming distracted by it all so we are never really get started. Instead, pay attention to what small part we have to play. Martin Luther famously wrote when he faced persecution for his stand against oppressive religion and for people encountering God first and foremost as love, grace, free grace, that he would not be undaunted. Even if the world were to end for me tomorrow, he is said to have told people, I would still plant my apple tree today. In other words, we must continue to do our small thing, which in its own small way adds beauty, compassion, and kindness to our world. We must light our candle in the world against the darkness, trusting if we do our part, God will provide the rest. This week, let's choose that optimism. Let's choose possibility, not passiveness, hope, not fear. Let's light our candle and plant our apple tree. Hope to see you all this Sunday for worship. Until then, have a great week.